So since February, we have been on this journey called Follow Me. Doesn't feel like that long, but it's been since February and we're already end of August almost. So if you missed a week here or there, or maybe you haven't had a chance to catch up on all of the podcasts, I'm going to give you a recap of the last 3 months in a minute. You ready? All right, let's go. The first things we talked about was giving all up to follow. And we looked at the first disciples of Jesus who were fishermen in a boat. Jesus called them out and they turned around from the whole life that they'd known and followed him. They didn't know what they were committing to, but they knew they couldn't go anywhere else because with Jesus was the words of life. Something in Jesus compelled them to say yes, to walk away from everything they knew to the life he was inviting them to. Then we looked at ways to know if we were following Jesus. We talked about the fruit in our lives and the different ways our lives would look to know we were on track with following him. We talked about how if we are following Jesus, we have to learn from Jesus. His early followers called him rabbi, which means teacher. So if we're going to follow him, we have to learn from him. And the last few weeks, we've been exploring this space of attachment to God and connection to God and the importance of our heart when following Jesus. And that is exactly where we are going to pick up today. We are going to pick up in Matthew 22. And Jesus is speaking to some Pharisees, and one of them says to him, "Teacher." So if he's addressing Jesus as teacher, that means he's ready to learn, right? "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" And we see in verse 37 Jesus' reply. Why don't we read this all together? Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself." And Jesus went on to say, all the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. We've been exploring that our inner world, guys, is crucial to following Jesus. Not because your feelings or your situation should rule the roost in your life, but because inside is where it all starts. See, we're not born again on the outside. We're born again on the inside. We're transformed by Jesus on the inside, and then that changes who we are on the outside. Isn't that right? So when we're born again, our spirit becomes alive to God. When we ask God's forgiveness and we receive his grace, what happens is we are washed clean by the blood of Jesus. Our sin is gone and we receive his spirit living within us as a seal of him upon us. And this is the beginning of the inner work. Salvation is just the start. This is why followers of Jesus must pay attention to their heart, mind, soul, and strength, because it is how God asks us to love him. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want those places to be filled with junk. You know, the resentment that can hang around in life, the pain that can hang around, hurts, all of those things that if we're honest, right, when we have those things in our heart, mind, and soul, we start to close off and hide those parts of us from God. Isn't that what happens if we're honest? And so what's actually God is inviting us into is a place where it hurts a lot less to bring those places to him and let his love get to the bottom of it all. If we are attaching ourselves to him, if we're staying in attachment to ourselves, if we're connecting with others, then we can present back to God parts of our heart, mind, soul, and strength that have his healing and love upon them. And this inner work, it is crucial to who we are if we are who we say we are. Who are we here? We're Chapel Life, right? We're a church that is about knowing Christ and making him known. And we don't do this by holding up banners in the street going, "Hey, we're Chapel Life." We are the banner in the street. Our lives are the banner in the street. And so it's by following the words of Jesus on the best way to live that we make a way for us to know God, that we make a way to be known by God, that we make a way to attach to God, to attach to ourselves, and ultimately to love our neighbor, That is how we know Christ and make him known. And this inner work that we've been talking about the last few weeks, it's not like some self-realization gig, like some get into your internal world and thoughts. It's not a suggestion to lose yourself in that place. It's not about digging up your past to blame other people for why you are the way you are. It's not about that. It's actually holy work. If you're attaching to God and partnering with him, it is holy work. It's hard work, but it's holy work. And it's what Jude calls growing up in our most holy faith in the book of Jude. It's about the transforming power of the cross of Jesus actually having daily work in our life. It's not about we have a salvation experience and we stop there with the cross. It's about the cross becoming real every day. It's about freedom, redemption, healing, and power being part of our story every day. The inner work is the essence of true discipleship. It is leading ourselves well in the way of Jesus as we follow him. Now, you can go, okay, Rose, well, how did you end up at this conclusion? How do you know attachment to God is the highest priority when it comes to following Jesus? And I might say, because I've read the words of Jesus that tell me there is nothing I can do without him. There is nothing we can do without him. There is nothing we can do without attachment to him. And that's not something I'm making up today. That is something Jesus says himself. We've already read that Jesus said that we're to love God with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength, and that is the highest priority for living. That's the greatest commandment. But even that we can't do on our own. Even that we need God's help to do it. If we are following Jesus and walking in the way of Jesus, he will teach us and lead us into love. So we're going to have a look for a moment at the words of Jesus in John 15, where he talks about attachment. And this is what Jesus says. I, Jesus, I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch in me that does bear fruit, he prunes, so that it will be even more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word I've spoken to you. Remain in me as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine and you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire and burned. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. This is to my Father's glory that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. As the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Now remain in my love. If you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in his love. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. My command is this: love each other as I has loved you. Now, Jesus is talking about a lot there. He's talking about fruit. He's talking about branches, pruning, things being thrown into fire. And there is a lot to learn in these few verses. But I want to focus on the essence of what Jesus is saying in this whole passage. And the essence of what he is saying is this: ultimate connection to God and attachment to God is like us being branches and him being the tree that we're supposed to be attached to. See, branches cannot exist of themselves. What happens to a branch that's on its own? It withers and it dies. Branches have to be connected to the vine, which is where the root system lives. It shrivels and dies when it's cut off because there's no life source there. But when it is connected and attached to the vine, it receives the nutrients, the water, and the life it needs to living. Now, if God the gardener decides to cut off a branch, it's because it wasn't serving the vine and it was hindering its life, so he removes it. And if it's pruned, it's not a punishment, it's to promote more growth. The gardener was pruning what was already bearing fruit so that it would bear more fruit. We used to have, when we used to live in Watsonia, we had all of these roses lining our whole front garden. And I loved at the end of every May, I would get out there, not that I'm a green thumb by any stretch, but I loved getting out there and trimming them all back because I knew in a few months what was going to happen. Boom. They would be flourishing come September, October, right? And this is like us, guys. It is only an attachment to God. It's only by remaining in Him. It's only by allowing His words to be in us and take root in us and then live that we can fulfill the words of Jesus to love Him with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength. And then we can love one another as He has loved us. We have to attach to Him. We have to remain in Him. We have to listen to Him. We have to do what He's asking us to do so that the outcome is then that we can love others the way He's loved us. We can't get it the other way around. We can't just think, if I love everybody, then I've done it. No, we've got to be attached and connected to Him first. You see, if you look at Matthew 22:37 on its own, where Jesus says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and strength, you can think, oh, this is another thing I just have to do. It's another thing to do, right? And on its own, we can go, yep, I got to be busy just loving the Lord with all my heart, mind, soul, and strength. I've got to put my head down and get that done. But if you look at that verse in the context of more of Jesus' words, where He says, I'm the vine and you're the branches, remain in me and I in you. As the Father's loved me, so I've loved you. Now remain in my love. My command is this, love each other as I have loved you. If we look at what Jesus is saying in context with more of His words, we realize this is not another thing to do. It is a thing to be. It is about being. Our attachment with God, our God loving us and us loving Him, does not ever come from you doing something for God. You don't have to earn it or try for it. He loves you because you are you, because of who you are. I want to give you this example today. So I've got 2 kids, and I don't love them because I put effort into trying to love them, right? They came from me. They're a part of me. They are my kids. And yes, there are trying moments where I need to choose love in that situation, right? Just like I probably test their patience and they need to choose to love mum in those situations, right? But they are mine and they came from me. We are attached. My heart is tied to their heart because we are attached, because they are my kids. And we've spent time and years growing the bond of attachment. They are not attached to me because they do something for me. They might win favor with me and they might they might please me when they do the things I've asked them to do. But my love for them is not based on what they do. It's just purely based on them being mine. And that's where attachment with God starts for us too. If we think, oh, I just have to believe and have more faith and then I'll be attached to God. That's only part of the equation. Faith pleases God and it's impossible to know Him without faith. But that's only part of it. Or if we think, oh, I just have to do more stuff and serve God more and serve people more. That's still only part of the truth. Yes, God wants us to do things, but it's out of overflow of love and attachment first. It's not to get love and attachment. And we might think, oh, I have to get on with this business of loving God with all my heart, soul, and strength. So, I've just got to close my eyes a bit harder and lift my hands a bit higher and that'll be enough. That's the worship God needs. But still, it's only part of the truth because it's not about what we do. It's about our being with Him. The truth is, loving God always starts and flourishes in the place of attachment and connection. It is in being one with the vine, being in Him. And what did Jesus say? When you remain in me and you let my words remain in you, then my love is in you, then my joy is in you, and the fullness of my joy will be in you. And then you can love others. Following Jesus isn't just about, well, if God's going this way, I'm following Him. But it's also about where He stays, there I will stay. And where does Jesus stay? He stays with the Father. Even while Jesus lived as a man on the earth, he was fully present with God and fully present with the reality of people around him. And that is available to us. I forget way too often that is available to me, to have an awareness of God in everything I do every day, but still be in my reality. I let that get away from me way too often, but it's available to us to be with God and still with our present reality. Imagine how differently our life would look if in the easy and the difficult moments we had such an awareness of God's presentness with us, right? So we're loving God with all our heart, all our mind, all our soul, and all our strength looks like a strong attachment. It looks like this. I will attach to God with all my heart. I will attach to God with all my soul. I will attach to God with all my mind. I will attach to God with all my strength. It also looks like this. I will not hide from God my heart. I will not hide from God my soul. I will not hide from God my strength, and I will not hide from God my mind. But I will bring all of me to him so he can know me there and I can know him there. And that's where love has its perfect way in us. That's where we remain in him and his words remain in us. And this is where we grow and bear fruit. And the fruit looks like, you guessed it, being able to love others. It works full circle. The degree to which we can remain in him and stay connected is the degree to which we're actually able to love others. It's connected. So at a high level, this sounds really good. Yep, okay, so I stay attached to God and I love God and I let his words remain in me and I don't hide from him and we're all good, Rose. I'm good, right? At a high level, this concept sounds good. But how do I actually attach? How do I do it? How do I walk this way? What's one practical step I can walk out of here with today and go, if I do that, then I'm on my way to attachment with God? Well, let's just start with being honest. Let's be honest. Be honest with God. Really, when I started to think about today and started to think about, we're going to get there in a second, but I've been the 8th month of the year. The last 8 months, I've been journeying through the Psalms, a few Psalms every day. And I got to the end and I started again, but instead of starting from one, I started from backwards. I'm reading the Bible backwards now, right? It gets confusing when you're turning pages. But I've been in the Psalms, and this is the thing that stands out. The people who wrote the Psalms were honest. They were honest with God. They didn't hide anything from him. Everything is raw, open, and exposed. They're honest. So today I want to challenge us with being honest before God. Because we like to fool ourselves into thinking God doesn't know. We think, oh, he possibly couldn't understand this part of my life, and so we hide it. But who are we really fooling, right? He sees everything. He knows everything. He's felt everything. He's God. And there's actually really nothing we can hide from him. And that thought should actually free you as much as it does put that little bit of holy fear in you, right? Oh, God does really know everything. But oh, what a relief. God really does know everything. So even when, I'm an over-explainer and I always still say to people at the end, does that make sense? It always makes sense to him because he gets it. He gets every part of who we are. And one man who was completely honest with God, who did not hold anything back, was King David. I feel like when you read the Psalms, it's like a look into David's journal, right? And I sometimes wonder, when I die, right, are people going to read my journal? Like when they're packing up my stuff, are my kids going to read it and go, oh, what did Mum write about, right? But David's had his journal circulate the whole world for generations. They all know what David thought and felt because it's gone viral, right? But David was honest. He held nothing back from God. And this was in a time before the cross. So before David had full access to living a life in the Holy Spirit and having the presence of God with him available like we do today, he was still able to attach to God in such a way where there was that raw honesty and vulnerability, where he held nothing back and he knew he could be seen and known by God. He could deal with the matters in his heart and soul. So then, as a king, he could love his neighbors, which were people in high places of power too. He had to serve and work alongside other kings, right? And sometimes I can read the Psalms and go, whew, David's just really brutally honest. Like, are we allowed to say that to God? Like, God, may my enemies be eaten by dogs and may they have all these things happen to them. Like, I read the Psalms and go, are we supposed to say stuff like that? But let's be honest. Sometimes when someone does you wrong, you feel like saying something like that to them, don't you? And okay, we wouldn't verbalize it to them, but where's the safe place? God. Tell him exactly how you feel. If he's not scared, you know how we know he's not scared of how we feel? Because he allowed David's words to be published for all the world to see as part of the word of God. He valued the way a man after his own heart would share so much that he's like, I want everybody to know this is how I want to speak with you. This is how I want you to speak with me. So to help us understand a little bit today that God welcomes our honesty and that he connects with us in our honesty and that he actually wants us to externally process with him, we're going to just have a quick look at one psalm. And I've picked Psalm 139 because I feel like this psalm captures a gamut of the emotions that we come to God with. There's praise, there's this awe-inspiring wonder of who God is and how he creates and what he does. But there's also this realization of, I'm a human being and I fall short and I need God. But there's the beauty of realizing that because I'm a human being and I fall short, I need God. That's what makes us human. If we didn't need God, we would be him. So let's have a quick look at Psalm 139 together. David says, O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from afar. You search out my path and my lying down, and you are acquainted with all my ways. Even before a word is on my tongue, behold, O Lord, you know it altogether. You hem me in behind and before and lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high and I cannot attain it. Where shall I go from your spirit, or where shall I flee from your presence? If I ascend into heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the light about me be night. Even the darkness is not night to you, and the night is as bright as the day, for darkness is as light with you. For you formed my inward parts, and you knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, as yet there were none of them. How precious to me are your thoughts, O God. How vast is the sum of them. If I could count them, they're more than the sand. I awake and I am still with you. Oh, that you would slay the wicked, O God, O men of blood, depart from me. They speak against you with malicious intent. Your enemies take your name in vain. Do I not hate those who hate you, O Lord? Do I not loathe those who rise up against you? I hate them with a complete hatred. I count them my enemies. Search me, O God, know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. See if there be any grievous way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. You know, David clearly had a way with words, right? There's such poetry there, and he uses imagery, and you can see what he's writing. You can picture it, right? But when it comes down to it, all it is one man pouring out his heart to God. That's all he's doing. Pouring out his heart, pouring out his soul, attaching to God, and finding his center again by finding the truth again. And again, you read the Psalms, and David starts with, God, you're so good. God, these things are going terrible, but God, you're still good. He's just recentering his life again as he pours out his heart. And he does it with total honesty. And he does it from the opening line. Oh Lord, you have searched me and know me. This one word, known me, do you know what he's saying in this one word? It actually is, the root word is yada. And it is to know me, to learn me. You've perceived me, you see me, you have found out about me, you know me by experience, you recognize me, you acknowledge me, you consider me, you are acquainted with me, you are skillful in me, you have knowledge and are wise in me. One word, yada, one word means all of that. God is intimately acquainted with you, has spent time skilling himself in you. Like, you know, when you live with someone long enough, you know what they're going to say before they say it, or you can go, ugh, like I'm not going to out anyone by name, but I can open my pantry and know the last person who was in there because the biscuit tin will be left in there empty, or the packet won't quite be closed. I'll know the last person who was in there because I'm intimately acquainted and I'm skilled in knowing the people I live with. But God does that for every single one of us. And we think we can hide from him. We think he doesn't understand. But he took time to get to know you by experience. He was there before you were formed. He was there, counted all your days and wrote about them. And we still think we can hide from him. But attachment with God requires that we get into this place of yada, where he knows us and we know him. You know, when I sit down, when I rise up, you search my path, you know where I'm going. Even before I say something, you know the words before they leave my lips. Even the things we don't say, he knows before, he knows that we're thinking them. So don't try and hide, he knows. You hem me in behind and before you lay your hand on me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. He's recognizing, wowzers, the God who made the world knows me. To quote Marty McFly, this is heavy. This is big. This is huge. God knows you. He knows you. David then goes, where can I hide from you? Where can I hide? Nowhere. Because even in darkness, it's as light to God because he is light. So the invitation in this part of the scripture here is this. If you look at part of your life and you feel like there's a dark shadow cast over it, that might be an indicator that there might be somewhere that you might be trying to hide something from God. But he's there already shedding light on it. Because to him, he sees it as it is. We might think we've pulled the wool over God's eyes, but we haven't because we can't. Because to him, anything dark already looks like light because he is light. So I just want to so encourage you today. Honesty is the key to attachment with him. No hiding at all because to him, even the darkness is light. David then goes on to talk about how he knows that God is the one who formed him and made him. And his soul knows it very, very well. He's deeply convinced that God is the one who made him and knows him. And then he talks about how much God thinks about him. It says more than the sand. Think about the amount of beaches that there are and coastlines in the world and how much sand there is. It doesn't say God thinks about everybody that much. He just says you think about me that much. So collectively, how many beaches of sand of all the billions of people in the world can be the sum of God's thoughts towards us? He thinks about us a lot. Each morning we wake and we are still with him because he is with us. And this is what attachment is. He is always with us. It is soul safety for always. God promises to never leave us nor forsake us. He actually says morning by morning, his mercy is what awakens our soul. It's new every day, right? We are still with God when we wake up because God's still with us. But I want to play with the words for a second. We're not just still with God, but when you wake in the morning, be still with God. Just take a minute. Be still with him. God, you woke me up this morning. I'm with you. You're with me. Remember that heart attachment. Start your day with attachment. Each day is an invitation to awake and be still with God. Remember who he is, but remember how much he knows you. Still with you, to be still with you. And then in the midst of all the beauty and all the nice stuff, David does one of those 180s and he starts saying, I think I missed it there. No, it's there. Here we go. Here, and he starts saying, God, all those wicked people, kill them off. Get rid of them. All of those evil people who speak against you, it's like this is out of nowhere. Like, how does this fit with everything else he's just been saying? And I started to think about it and I thought, well, maybe it really isn't that out of nowhere because he's just spent all of these verses cultivating this beauty of attachment with God, reminding him, I'm in a really safe place with God. And so what do we do with the people safest to us? We kind of just let it all hang out a bit, don't we? We say what we really think. We expose our fears. We expose what we're really thinking and feeling. And that's what he does to God. I'm in a safe place. I can tell God what I'm really thinking and feeling. And David's heart was so much to align himself with God that he hated what God hated. And that's love. It might not sound like love, but the Bible tells us very clearly that we are to cling to good and hate what is evil. We're to pursue love and hate what is evil. It's very clear. So this is just more alignment with love. God, anyone who's against you, I'm against them too. And we know we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. It's against the spirit of what's going on. We love the person because we want to see God move in their life, but it doesn't change that what's going on, I disagree with the evil. I hate that God. And that alignment comes from attachment with God. So David is spending these next few verses getting stuff off his chest. And the beauty of God is that he holds space for David. God doesn't just listen to your prayer and then go, okay, they're done now, and he hangs up the phone. No, but what he does is he holds space for us. He's not afraid of our honesty, and he actually comes to be with us in these times when we're venting, because what he can do is sometimes he can show us something that can help us and our perspective. Sometimes we can only see things from one angle, but God sees everything, right? So in those moments of being able to vent, God gives you the safe space to do it, but sometimes he just shows you something and you go, oh, I didn't know that, God. And it changes the way our heart might feel or understand something. God holds us close and gets up close when we take the time to attach to him. And then David finishes by going, search me, God, and know my heart, know my thoughts. And if there's anything in me that shouldn't be there, God, get rid of it. This is just that final cry to be seen and known. God, this is my whole heart poured out to you. I welcome you to come and know me. And God, I choose you. I choose you. And that is what we are on this journey of. Following Jesus is a daily choosing. God, I choose you. I choose you. I choose you. I don't want anything to get in the way of me and you. Lead me in the way of Jesus. Lead me in the way everlasting. It is pure honesty poured out to God with nothing hidden. So the invitation today is, where do we need to be honest? Sometimes it helps to be honest with yourself first. Because sometimes we're hiding from ourselves as well. So sometimes we need to be honest with ourselves, and then we can be honest with God. But honesty before God is the key to attachment with God. And attachment to God is the only way we can do anything, because Jesus says there's nothing we can do without him. It's the very means by which we can do the inner work required to mature in our faith and follow Jesus. Being honest with God and attaching to God is knowing Christ and making him known. That is having his love and words remain in us so that we can love others the way we have been loved by him. Guys, this is the invitation to follow Jesus today.